All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. Back at it with another Throwback Tunes and another Thursday, and I am reviewing Light as a Rock by MC Lyte. So a couple of very interesting things right here. So obviously this is her debut album. So this joint was done under First Priority Records, or Priority Music, excuse me. So there's that. The producers involved was Alliance, Audio 2, King of Chill, and Prince Paul. So that all that is pretty interesting if you ask me as well. Now, here's a little bit more interesting thing. So here's an overview really. In 1987, at the age of 16, Lyte released her debut single, which we'll get into later, which is about drug addiction and its impact on relationships, being one of the first songs written for the crack era. As she stated, she was 12 years old at the time of writing, and then she would go on to say, "My mother used to work at North General Hospital in Harlem. Whenever I would go, there would be a slew of heroin and crack addicts. I would never want that for myself or any other young person that I knew, so I was going to make it my responsibility to tell people about drugs so that they could avoid them at all costs." So there you go with that. And here's another interesting fact right here. So a couple of weeks before she turned 18, she released this album. So she was 17 when she first dropped this album. In addition to being one of the first female rap LPs, the previous one some groups like Salt and Pepper and JJ Fad had published, it would be the first full album of a female rapper as a solo artist. As stated in an interview for OK Player, all the lyrics on the album are from a rhyming book that she had written over the course of several years. And keep in mind, she was not even 18 when this album dropped, so that's pretty amazing if you ask me. And there you go with that. Now let's take a look at the charts and the accolades and things of that nature. So, well, there's not really much in terms of the certifications rather, but it did make the charts. It was 50th on the top R&B/hip hop albums charts. That's pretty much it if you ask me. So there's that. Now, going on to the track is the album itself rather. There's 10 tracks. Now there were more accolades, so before I get to that, let me talk about these accolades. So in 1998, 10 years after this album dropped, Light as a Rock would be listed in the Source 100 Greatest Albums of All Time list. The year later, hip hop magazine Ego Trip ranked the album 12th on their list, Graded Hip Hop Albums of 1988. This year, they also released hip hop's greatest singles by year, in which her leading single, which we'll get to in a second, was on the 1987 list, while two of her other singles were on the 1988 list. In February 2008, Rolling Stone included Light as a Rock along with other albums such as NWA's debut album, Straight Outta Compton, and Public Enemy's It Take a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back on their list of the best albums of 1988, which considered, and I quote here, rap's greatest year. So that's pretty interesting. In August of 2013, this album was included on NME's 25 albums that changed hip hop forever list. In October 2017, this album, Light as a Rock, was ranked 30th on the Complex magazine's best rap albums of the 80s list, which Michael Gonzalez commented, and I quote here, "MC Lyte emerged from the depths of Brooklyn, carrying more about her rhyme skills than her makeup. Homegirl might have been light as a rock, but her debut album was heavy as a boulder." In September 2018, Pitchfork included Light as a Rock in their list, the 200 best albums of the 1980s. And I'm gonna quote Sheldon Pierce here when he said, "Groundbreaking, and unconfined. The album has a take on all comers bravado, boy, how you pronounce the joint? Buoyed by Lyte's aerodynamic style. She is unflappable, as cool as Big Daddy Kane, as cerebral as Cool Mo D, harder than Salt and Pepper, but just as chicky. That monumental chip on her shoulder was a byproduct of all the naysayers claiming women couldn't rap, and it drove her to outdo everyone. If a rap can paint 1,000 words, then I can paint 1,000,000, she proclaimed proudly on the track's title. This is a record about being a woman in a boys' club and blowing up the spot with uncompromising attitude. She wasn't in it to pander to the male gaze or to play feminine action girls. She was in it to win. So a lot of hype going into this album, by the way. And we're going to talk about the professional ratings in a sec. So like I said, there's 10 songs off this album and 4 singles. So we're going to get to all that right now, actually. The first track is called Lyte vs. Vanna Wright, which is really a skit. or if you want to call it a skill, or just a track where you just hear nothing but the beat and some scratches. That's pretty much it. Next up, Light as a Rock. So the same title as the album, and actually this is one of the 4 singles off the album. In fact, this is her 4th and final single off this album. Next up, I Am Woman, followed by MC Lyte Like Swingin', no G but with the apostrophe, followed by 100% This. Now this as in D-I-S, there's no second S in there. That's actually the 2nd single off this album. Next up is Paper Thin, which is the 3rd single off this album, followed by Light DMC, Thee. Next up is the very first single off this album, I Cram to Understand You, and in parentheses Sam. Followed by Kickin' for Brooklyn, Kickin', no G but with the apostrophe, and the number 4, Kickin' for Brooklyn. And then the last track off this album, track number 10, is called Don't Cry, Big Girl. So there's a comma between cry and big. There you go with that. Now, there's not a lot of info, unfortunately, on I Cram to Understand You, Sam. That joint came out in 1987, and again, first single off of this album. And you know, I read some of the accolades and things of that nature, and none of her singles made the charts, by the way, or received any certifications. I just want to throw that out there as well. It do have a music video though. I crammed it. No, it don't. Wait, my bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. It does not have a music video. I'm thinking something else. It does not have a music video, so that's pretty much it there. The second single is called 10% This. So that joint came out in 1998. Again, not much info in there, no music video for that one or anything like that. Then we got Paper Thin. Now, this is where the music videos came to play. That one also came out in 1998. That's the 3rd single. And again, it got a music video, which is available on YouTube right now, by the way. I was watching it, a few minutes ago. So yeah, go ahead, check that out. And then the last single is Light as a Rock, which also has a music video as well. So, and that's on YouTube as well. So there you go with that. All right. So I'm about to give you guys rather my, oh, actually, you know what? There's some info on 100% This. I apologize, my bad. So yeah, it came out in 1998. Let's backtrack real quick. During an interview with Vibe in 2011, Lyte stated that the feud, so apparently, so this is by the name of the title, 10% This. This is obviously a diss track to then Hubert Alzor associate Intranet. So that's interesting. Apparently she's a rapper from Bronx, and that's her name, Intranet. So apparently the feud started from a deal between a deal. I'm reading this as it is. A deal between a deal. Okay, that was made between Salt and Pepper's producer Herbie Lovebug and the rap duo Audio 2 to record and release a song called Stop Illin', no G but with the apostrophe, based on the hit song Top Billin'. So Herbie was taking pretty long to get it together. So Audio 2 figured out that he wasn't going to do it. And then one night on a trip back from Boston after doing in-stores and performing, we had the radio on WBLS and heard Mr. Magic and Marley Marl playing Intranet's song, I Got an Attitude. It was the same Audio 2 track, but it was organized in a different way. This upset Audio 2, so they asked him to write a diss track addressed to Intranet. According to MC Lyte, the duo considered that they would have been as the rackiest men on the face of the planet if they had made it themselves. The song, recorded at the INS studio in New York City, became a single for their debut album, Light as a Rock, referring to obviously MC Lyte. Intranet replied with the song Lights On, Party's Over on her debut album, Who's the Boss. Then MC Lyte would include as B-side of her latest single, Light as a Rock, to the answer, Shut the F Up, and in parentheses, Ho. That was a part of the title, which will also be included as a track on her next album, Eyes on This. So there you go with that. Now, in 1999, Hip Hop Magazine Ego Trip ranked this song 17th on their list greatest hip hop singles of 1988. In April 2013, the song 10% This was included on as number 21 on Complex, the 50 best rap songs by women list, in which they commented, and I quote here, MC Lyte's 10% This was 100% effective. As the stepsister of Brooklyn's own Giz and Milk from Audio 2, Lyte had access to the hottest beats, and she was also exempt from any sort of pressure to sleep her way to the top, demanding and receiving maximum respect from all men she encountered in their testosterone-stoked industry. End quote. In October 2018, the same media outlet placed 10% This at number 26, on the 50 best hip hop diss songs list. The track featured A multitude of now classic lines such as hot damn hoe, here we go again, and obviously we heard that a few times. And you're a beat biter, a dope style taker. And we probably heard that a few times before. Ironically, the beat for 10% this sounded more like Top Billin' than I Got an Attitude did, which is pretty crazy. And Complex, Rob Marriott, who would comment on the song, 10% this is pure, unrelenting devastation. Ether before ether. Wow. So yeah, there you go with that. So a lot of interesting stuff there. All right, so with that out the way, let me give you guys my top, my favorite tracks off this album from verse to first. So again, Lyte versus Vanna Wright. That's not exactly a song, but it's a track where the beat is really cool and it's really all about scratches there. I Am Woman is the worst track off this album. The tempo is cool / really cool. The melody was just straight though. The bass is cool, same with the kick. The snare was borderline straight / cool. Despite that, the track was still cool nevertheless. Next up, Don't Cry, Big Girls. Tempo is cool, melody is straight, the bass is cool, same with the kick. The snare is really cool though. The track is cool as the drums help this track big time. Next up, I Cram to Understand You, Sam. Tempo is cool, no melody or bass. The kick is cool, same with the snare overall, the track is still cool nevertheless. Next up, 10% this. The tempo is straight / cool, the melody is cool, the kick / 808s are really cool, the snare is cool, overall the track is cool and the drum kick is easily recognizable. You would have listened to this track right here, which is the diss track right there. You would say, oh man, it's that same drum kit, but it's still cool nevertheless. Next up, Kicking for Brooklyn. Tempo is cool, no melody though, the bass is really cool, the kick is cool, but please use the boom sound effect. There's like this vocal, anytime you hit the kick, you just hear boom, like somebody saying boom. And I'm like, can y'all cut that down a bit? Like, don't use that a lot or every single time the kick is being played. But aside from that, the kick is still cool nevertheless. The snare is cool, overall the track is cool. Next up, Light as a Rock. Tempo is really cool. Melody was only at the hook, and it was pretty much straight. The bass was straight as well. The kick is borderline cool / really cool. The snare is really cool and powerful. The track is cool as it starts at the 35-second mark, and the drums carry this track right here. All right, I'm about to give you guys my top 3 tracks off this album. Number 3 on this list, MC Lyte, Like Swinging. Tempo is really cool, melody is cool, no bass though. The kick is really cool, the snare is really cool, the cymbals are cool, but go easy on them. Again, it was cymbal heavy with this one, so they could have cut that back a bit in my opinion. Overall, the track is really cool nevertheless. Second best track off this album is Paper Thin. Tempo is really cool, the melody is cool, no bass again. The kick is excellent and really powerful. Oh my gosh. The snare is really cool, the track is really cool because of them drums. Oh my gosh, that kick, man. That's all I can say, just that kick. No one track off this album though, Lyte DMC. The tempo is really cool, the melody is cool, the bass is really cool, the kick is really cool, the snare is really cool. Overall, this track is really cool. Without question, Lyte DMC, best track off this album. So I'm about to give you guys some professional ratings. So check this out. All Music gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The Philadelphia Inquirer gave it 4 stars. The Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the Village Voice gave it a B. So what do I think about this album? But here's the thing, like the fact that there was only 10 tracks on this album and 9 of them were actual songs, I feel like it hurt this album. Her lyrics on some of them tracks were really, really cool, man. Her lyrics are really, really cool on some of those tracks. And I feel like it was obviously more about the kicks. Well, you know, that's how it was back then in the late 80s, early 90s. It was really more about the kicks and the scratches and things of that nature. So I'm going to look at this and say, I'm going to give this a 3.75 out of 5. If you want, I would say download it and keep it, but at the very least, stream it. At the very least, stream it and listen to Lyte DMC, Paper Thin, and MC Lyte Swinging. Those 3 tracks are really, really dope, if you ask me. So there you go, 3.5 out of 5. I recommend at the very least you stream it, and at the most you download it and you keep it. So I'm gonna call it a wrap. And with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is boy New J Gas B, aka New Stimulated Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.